Is my wife cheating on me? Hi everyone, just a brief backstory first. My wife and I have been together over 20 years and we have 2 teenage kids. Our love life was pretty normal, 1 to 2 times a week we did it, but pretty vanilla, and we never did or shared anything outside of our bedroom. At the beginning of the year she asked me my thoughts on her joining OnlyFans. Initially I fully supported her and the idea. I mean, from my point of view she's definitely good looking and fits a certain niche that she's done very well in, and if she makes a few dollar, well, that's extra spending money for her. Their union took our love life to another level, like doing it in different ways and in various places regularly as we never did before. This past summer she asked me if she could go to a town close to ours and meet up with another co-creator, female, that she's become really friendly with over time and would fly in from Chicago. At the time I questioned why would she want to meet some random person from the internet, to which she stated she's become good friends. I agreed that she could go for a couple of nights and everything was paid for and booked. The only obstacle would be who she would tell our kids she was going with, as she's never traveled solo. My wife lied to our kids and stated she was going with one of her real BFFs. Obviously our kids have absolutely no clue she's on a. So the day before the trip the other person had to bail, citing an ill family member. She offered to compensate my wife for her portion, but then suggested she'd pay for my wife to come visit her hometown of Chicago. Hey race, where I started to question things. I was assured that nobody else would be going and that they were going to get a hotel room close to the airport and just hang out. My wife by no means is the hardcore partying type. She'll have a few drinks here and there to get buzzed, that's about it. So once again I agreed to her going for 2 nights, so this was at the beginning of October. Now comes our real first flag, so to speak. She left our home and drove herself to the airport, but did not leave me any contact/flight/hotel arrangements. When she arrived in Chicago I messaged her asking for all of that, which she did provide me a hotel name, and we didn't text again until she was leaving 3 days later. She came home and made no immediate mention of what she did, what or where she went or ate, nothing. A day or so after being back home, I went to go put her suitcase away, but noticed she had taken a tube of lube and had left it in there while taking mostly everything else out. Now at that point I didn't want to accuse her of anything, so I just left the suitcase as is. The next day she started mentioning certain things she did in Chicago in front of the kids. Privately I asked how she paid, to which I got the response that the friend paid for everything and refused to let my wife pay a dime. She then mentioned the first night they went to a local bar and another male co-creator she knew happened to be at the same bar, to my wife's surprise, and that friend she was staying with had invited. She said he was in a rush and didn't stay long and covered their bill. She also stated she traveled to her friend's town to hang with her friends and watch football the next day. I went again to put the suitcase away, and guess what? The lube was gone. Okay, so I pretty much let all this go, thinking my wife got whatever out of her system. We went back to our normal routine and had fantastic love experiences again. Fast forward to the beginning of this month, my wife asked if she could go back to Chicago for a couple of nights, and once again said friend would pay for her flight and accommodation, which honestly makes no sense to me. This time I felt that his asking me was almost a bad if I do it or bad if I don't scenario. My gut was telling me even if I had said no she'll hold it against me. So she booked a ticket and went yesterday. The night before I went through her toy collection and saw everything was still in place, including that same lube she previously took. She asked if this time I could drop her off at the airport, and once more lied and told the kids she's going with her BFF for her birthday as they really liked that city. I was being very naive. I assumed this time she'd provide me all her contact info, etc. She got out of the car and went straight in. She messaged when she arrived that she had landed, and that's it. All day I sat here at home completely unnerved. I went to look again and saw that the bottle of lube was not there, nor was a small toy. For all I know, she is not interested in having affairs with another woman. Finally in the evening I couldn't take it anymore and sent her a message saying, I hope you are having a good time. I also hope you feel good about yourself by once again not leaving any info of where you're staying and traveling, and be honest, what did you need the lube for that you took? She responded about an hour later only with, same place, what are you talking about? She hasn't messaged since. I have to pick her up from the airport tomorrow. I'm not sure how to handle this. Update. She just messaged the following: I really need you to think about who I am and who you and I are. I would never do anything behind your back. I love you with all my heart. I simply replied by stating we will talk later when she arrives, and she then provided her flight info. They'll have another update end of day, November 21st. I feel like you posted in this as she was getting set to leave the first time. My response now is the same as it was then. You know what is happening here. You do not know the details, but you do not need the details. She has made a choice. Now you make one. You stay and be that guy, no judgment, who pretends he does not see the obvious because love, money, kids, or whatever excuse he uses to justify staying. Or you leave and let her be who she is going to be. You are not going to talk her back into being who she was. You are not going to argue her into it. Or cry her into it. Making drama over it only prolongs your misery. Stay. Go. But stop pretending that this is anything but what it is. 10 years from now, the thing you will most cringe over is how long it took you to be man enough to accept the truth and truly stay or go rather than hiding in maybes. As someone who has been where OP was, and who let it go for a year before taking action, I give you an award, and hopefully OP takes it to heart. Even if she didn't cheat, the fact she didn't call or text the whole trip would angry me off more than anything. Seriously. Especially when they have kids. I can't imagine not wanting to talk to my kids or at least have updates on how they're doing if I'm gone for a few days. Well, probably. Who brings lube to visit a friend unless they're planning to? If she regularly indulges, then maybe, but she's still probably doing something weird in Chicago. OP, no, she doesn't. Well, there goes my only positive guess. She could be using the lube to please herself. Honestly, if she was using the lube to cheat, wouldn't it make more sense for the other person to provide it? That's not to say this whole thing isn't questionable, but maybe have an honest conversation with her. Assuming you've trusted your wife for the last 20 years, give her a chance to explain herself before jumping to conclusions. OP, hi, she never uses lube to please herself and I agree, I want to talk to her and work this out. Dude. I'm so sorry. But she's clearly cheating on you. If not, there is something else very sketchy going on. You need to have an honest conversation with her and, regardless, get your affairs in order. Including getting tested. The two of you are not great communicators. Why don't you ask him in advance about all the travel plans? It's common sense. Stop playing ridiculous games. Tell him everything and ask him what exactly is going on. OP, I keep asking myself this. Asking your partner about his plans is normal, but this post says as if you are ridiculous playing ridiculous games. If your partner lives and respects you, he should tell you, and as much as he is with you, he can't behave like this by disappearing for a few days. Ask your partner directly what is going on. If you think he is lying, do the investigation yourself. I would not let this situation go easily. If you are supposedly meeting with a co-creator, I would assume that means you are making visual content. Did you not talk to her about that? 'Cause that's already obvious from what she said. OP, my wife has said she's one good friends. There's been no content between the two posted so far from this trip, nor was there from the last. I am very sorry to tell you this, as I had my fair share of partners who cheated on me, but it seems she is being shady and doing something behind your back. She is your partner and you have kids together, yet she doesn't bother to inform you about where she is and what she is doing. It's disrespectful and she is full of it. If I were in your shoes, I would probably go there myself, but I am aware that probably isn't the smartest idea. When she comes back home, confront her and ask her if she has been cheating. Also, talk to a friend, family member, or someone once you resolve this issue. Don't suffer alone, and don't forgive a cheater. Sooner or later they will do it again. Good luck. OP, thanks. I'm looking for a therapist as we speak. I honestly can't handle these feelings I have and having to deal with the kids at the same time.